Intermediate Pastel Drawing, Video 3, the final draw. Here, as you can see, it's quite a bit of difference from the last video to this one. I've actually done a bit of the drawing between videos. Pretty much what I did was go in and finish up all the shading and a little bit of the texture to highlight in the cheekbones and along the nose line and a little bit on the bridle to try to make that a little bit more defined, make it look like leather kind of, and give it some depth and almost not so much 3D effect, but give it some kind of a makes it pop off the paper a little bit more. And now I'm working on Amy mostly. As you can see, I still haven't touched the hand. Part of that being when you're working on the drawing starting from top to bottom, or you know, from that eye and working my way out, and then from the left and working my way down, it keeps me from smearing the other pastels under my hand. Sometimes, you know, the palm of my hand will touch the paper a little bit while I'm working. So to kind of minimize the smearing and mistakes kind of thing, I try to avoid working on that bottom right hand side as much as I can until the very end. So I will work on the hand a little bit after I've worked on the face, which is in some ways odd because the face is so light in color and I don't like going back and forth between dark and light pastels. But I do have a cloth that I, kind of an old towel that I'll wipe my fingers off with when they're dry. I won't put anything else on my hands to wipe them or clean them with, because sometimes water will not take it off as effectively as just a dry towel will. So I'll clean my fingers quite a bit in between working on her face and finishing up on the horse and her hand holding onto the bridle. So as you can see, I'm kind of giving her face a little bit more depth of color and tone, and I'm putting in a little bit of a darker peachy color just to give the flesh tones a little bit more reality and give it some more definition and true to life coloring, if you will. As I'm working here, you can see I still haven't finished the helmet either at this point, because that's pretty much going to be all charcoal. So I'll save that for the very end. That way I'm not getting any charcoal on anything else. So after I'm done finishing her face and working on her hand, I'll finish up the helmet at that point. And you can see again I'm giving her face a little bit more of the tones that would be true to life, and working on her ear and her hair, giving her hair a little bit of definition. Now right now, up to this point, I've just been using the soft pastels in the stick form. I haven't been using any pastel pencils, but I do love using pastel pencils. When I first started drawing with pastels, I did not know that they existed, and all my finer details and my lines and things like that, I tried my very best to get a sharp edge to a piece of flat charcoal or pastel, and sometimes it was effective and sometimes it worked great, and other times it would break off and crumble and make a mess. And so when I discovered the pencils, I was in heaven, because you can do so much more detail and get the fine lines and make fur look like fur, and you know, give the eyes the definition that they need, and just, you know, have a great time in manipulating what you need to manipulate to get the job done. So much more effective using the pastel pencils, and that's something that I'll be working on here in a minute. As you can see, I'm still finishing up a little bit of the area on the jaw on the lower right. I think I noticed something while I was working that didn't quite look right, so it's always good to go back and double check what you're doing, double check the drawing, make sure you've gotten all the details you need to have, make sure you don't forget anything that could be important to the structure of the animal or the person or whatever the object is that you're working on. So checking and double checking and rechecking is always a good thing, can never hurt. Again, going through, right now I'm working on the hands and the extra piece of bridle that comes through there. It's a little bit lighter in tone than the one on the top of the head, or up near the jawline and the nose bone and whatnot. So I'm trying to get that definition in there. Making the fingers the right shape that they need to be with them curled around the bridle like they are. You want to get the knuckle definition. You want to get the shading and the highlighting correctly on the knuckles. So I'll concentrate a little bit on that at this point. Right now I've just kind of given it a little bit of a base coat, but I haven't started smoothing it at this point. Again, working on the little bits of pieces of the bridle. There's some metal pieces near the hand that I want to try to make sure that they have the right shape and give them somewhat of depth and reflective quality. And again, just going back and forth, trying to get the definition in there and working with my fingers, smoothing things. So that's the ring around the bridle. So I've just filled in the void in the middle of the ring. But I also need to give some definition to the rest of the hand, so I'm doing that. And then I'll go back. As you can see, I've gone back with a grayer color over the glove. She's wearing a glove, so that the gray, along with the charcoal, gives it a more of a leathery feel, more true to what it is, as compared to just a black glove. And I'll go through and define the fingers a little bit more and put some more shading in there in between the fingers and around the knuckles, and some highlights on the top of the knuckle, and where the glove actually folds a little bit or creases around the hand. And now I'm working on her collar on her shirt, trying to at least just get the color, something different in the picture. It's the only thing that has like real color to it, that's not so earthy, and makes it kind of stand out a little bit. Now I've got the pencils out. Pencils are great. As you can see, they come in just about every color you can imagine that you could use for drawing. And right now I've gone through, like I do with my the soft pastels on the side there, I do the same thing with my pencils. I go through and I pick all the colors that I need to have for the particular drawing, for what I'm trying to do for details, and I keep them readily available so I can easily swap back and forth between them. Right now I'm trying to give the eyes more definition, so I'm going in with some darker browns to use in that rusty color area, just to give a little bit more definition to the fur and to the creases of the eyelid. Then I'll go through with a black charcoal pencil and try to make the eye a little bit darker underneath the lid, just to make the lid seem like it's popping out over the eye. And then I also will use, here I'm using the black charcoal pencil to do just what I said. I'm actually drawing eyelashes on there now, which is, again, the little details, they make a big difference sometimes in making something look more real as compared to making it just look like, a quick drawing. Those little details sometimes make a big difference. And here I'm going to give the jawline just a little bit of texture, make the fur kind of seem like fur. So just a little itty bitty lines here and there throughout the drawing will give it that feel of fur without having to do it throughout the whole thing. Again, this is a pretty quick drawing. It actually took me about an hour and a half in total to do. If I want more detail, if I want the fur to look more real, if I want things to be more sharp and vibrant, then I spend quite a bit more time on it and I do a lot more detail. But again, this was a quick one, and not so hard to do. It takes time, but filling in the little details, always very fun. So here I'm just finishing up the details and gonna put my signature on it, and it will be done. And here we have Amy and Ruby. And our final drawing. I hope you had fun with the video, and if you have questions, please contact me.